Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we'll go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble.
Assemble.
Volume 277, and we are back live. As we kind of warned you, we're kind of in this period of Marvel where we're not getting much. We're barely getting rumors these days, and so that's why we didn't want to go dark last week. That's why we hope you enjoyed our the Roger Corman breakdown of the Baxter broadcast. So we decided to at least release something humorous. That way you can laugh, you can cry, you can feel sorry for us, But we do it for you, the people. But we at least wanted to give you something. And then, David and I saw these kind of a couple of news items, Rumoured mill, and said, we can put together a show with this. We have some fun. So again, we're here for you live. And how are you doing, David?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying a crazy Midwest weekend, meaning that it was 40 degrees one day and it was 70 degrees today, and who knows what it's going to be tomorrow. Other than that, it's been just an easy weekend so far.
Yeah, that was our last weekend. We had like upper 70s, gorgeous weather, and then Monday came around, 28 degrees. Veterans Day, 28 degrees. And then it slowly started inching its way back up. But, fall's here, cold weather's here. And hey, on Monday night, we got one of our earliest snows in North Carolina. Nothing to stick or anything like that. We don't do anything crazy here, but it was kind of interesting. November 10th seeing snow falling.
Yeah.
But so everything's going well with you. Everything's going well with me. So let us, get into this. But before, we want to congratulate our brethren over at the Geek First for a very successful 24-hour charity stream to benefit the BC Children's Hospital. The goal was $1,500, and they raised a little over that. I think the exact number, if I've got it written down, it was, I think, it's over $15,000, and thought I had it written down. Oh, yep, yeah, over 1,500. I was about to say $15,000. I'm sure that would be amazing. But yeah, over $1,500, and over 9 years, they have been able to raise a total of $20,000 for the BC Children's Hospital. So that is an outstanding accomplishment. Very honored to be a small part of that with the trivia battle that Geekverse won by 1 point. It was probably one of our closest trivia battles that we had. And I think, I appreciate all the efforts of my team, but I think the moment that will go down for, the trivia battle was our buddy Ben and how confident he was with the answer of Cat Grant. And we were like, no, Deathsmoker. So as I said to Travis to make him feel better, Ben now has his on your left moment.
Yeah, so confident with it. I was able to, even though I had to dip off the stream immediately, I was able to go back and watch it. And some of the responses to the confidence in which some of these responses were made, were just hilarious. So I urge people, if you got a moment, go back, look at the stream, rewatch it, because it's hilarious.
Yep. Good evening, Pippa Jack. Yep, that's it. They deserve. So again, I want to thank Travis, thanks Geekverse brothers for a great trivia battle. Congratulations on the win, and it's always a great fun fight with y'all. So, but anyway, so let us get into the network plugs before we get into the show proper. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if we want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers, our dollar tiers, our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive shows, including our show. We can watch this. We've got 3 shows on the back catalog. We can watch this all day. The Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch, Tales from the House of X, where we watched our favorite movies from the Fox era of X-Men, and then the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film reviews. So if you're not a member of Patreon, you can go to www.patreon.com/GUA Network. We want to thank our patrons. We can't do this without your support. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, we totally understand. But if you want to take 30 to 90 seconds and to take the 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomicsbooks.com for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at Panelbound Comics has got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. As we said before, a light month for Marvel pre-orders. We've got Star Wars Legends Legacy Omnibus Volume 1. We've got Wolverine Not Dead Yet, aka Wolverine Omnibus Volume 7. And then X-Men Trial of Gambit Omnibus, aka X-Men Onslaught Aftermath Volume 2. Spider-Man Brand New Day Omnibus Volume 3, concluding that epic arc. And we've got 2 codes on there if you want to let them know you're a listener. We've got Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. And then we've got MGUA SIT for 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. Use either one of those codes, unlimited amount of times, and let them know you're a listener. And we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. So it looks like we've got some updates in the chat. I'm assuming this looks to be probably Mr. Snell probably putting it in there. Yep, $1,526. So $20,506.21 for that pack of gum. So yeah. So congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Snell. I'm assuming that's you in the chat. But all right. So, as you see, if you're watching in the background on YouTube, and if you're listening, you see the title of this. So this is Rumor. A lot of this stuff is Rumor, except for maybe the last night item. And it's just because we thought it was kind of interesting to go over what the certain actor's saying. But we're going to start off with Avengers Doomsday, specifically Doctor Doom. So Rumor is revealing that Doctor Doom variants are coming in Avengers Doomsday. So a new rumor coming from Daniel RPK. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but it's an interesting topic to discuss. He says that there will reportedly be multiple Doctor Dooms in Avengers Doomsday, and he specifically mentioned female variants. Now, while Avengers Doomsday has plenty of villains and other former villains in its cast, this is the first time that fans will be hearing about it featuring more than one Doctor Doom. As of writing, there are no reports indicating that who will play any Doom variants, and even if it's true, obviously. Considering Avengers Doomsday will take place in at least 3 different universes, we possibly can expect more than one variant of countless Marvel characters. This makes it no surprise that even Doctor Doom will have different variants that will want to wreak havoc on the universe. So should the rumor regarding the female Doctor Doom be true, this could be a way to introduce Valeria Richards. This is Reed Richards and Sue Storm's second child after Franklin Richards. In the comics, she often possesses powers resembling those of her mother, combining with Doom's next-level intellect, making her just as one of the most dangerous as her male counterpart. Now, she is always seems to, if you read her in the comics, she's definitely Doom's kind of favorite of the 2 children versus Franklin, and Valeria also takes very interesting, umbrage to hanging out with Doom, treating him fairly, kind of he gives it back to her, she gives it back to him in the sense of they're bantering back and forth. So he has a big respect for her. So that would be an interesting kind of take at that one. So what do you think about this? Doctor Doom variants, what do you think? Real or not real? Fake or real? Is this more Scooper madness, just trying to keep the talking heads talking?
When I first read this, I thought 2 things. I thought, number one, they either had some leftover scripts from Council of the Kings, and they were like, let's just scratch out King and write Doom instead. The other part was this an entire long game? Because the way that Robert Downey Jr. was introduced was on a stage full of various people dressed as Doom, and then he revealed himself to be Doom. I'm like, what was this something that was right in our face the entire time? But realistically, I think this is just let's throw something at the wall, see what sticks, Scooper madness, so that we can say that we got something before anyone else.
Yeah, it is an interesting idea. It's not necessarily far without merit. Again, being the Multiverse saga, it's hard to fathom that there would just be one Doctor Doom out there. There's definitely comic book precedent, and so that's where I'm gonna go. I told you there'd be kind of an interesting kind of discussion point with this. In the comics, there have been various variants of Doctor Doom. So I want to kind of get your reaction to some of these, and do you think that we would get one? So this one is called Doctor Doom and Wolverine Skeleton, coming from Guardians of the Galaxy number 39, 1993. So, in the dark world of Earth 691, the Earth was invaded by the Martian Masters, and humanity fought valiantly against them, including Doctor Doom. While most of the other heroes died in the war, Doom survived, and at some point in his history, he murdered Wolverine and transplanted his brain into Wolverine's unbreakable skeleton. This created a terrifying Terminator-esque version of Doctor Doom. He had the brilliance and knowledge of his mind, along with the absurd brutality of Wolverine's adamantium skeleton. I would show this, but I'm kind of looking off. This is coming from Screen Rant. This 20 Doom's variant. So, David, if you want to kind of look that up, I'll put it in the group chat so you can get a quick link of it. But this is truly, they were not kidding when they were saying that this is a Terminator-esque kind of kind of image. So let me drop this in the group chat so you can kind of see the image. But yeah, so what do you think? Doctor Doom and Wolverine Skeleton.
Now that I am looking at the image on Screen Rant, I think that this is one of the coolest things I've seen. This very much, though, does harken back to something that would be in the early 90s. But yeah, it's cool to see. Yes, this is very Terminator with the claws, and I would say it'd be a fun little throwaway if, again, they did something like how we had the Council of Kings scene where you're trying to spot out the different ones. If this was something that we could spot out in the background, I would say, okay, that's a cool little Easter egg. I don't see how they could flesh this out for more than a half a second cameo.
Yeah. All right, how about this one? This is a personal favorite of mine. Doom 2099, aka the All-Father Doom. Doom 2099, the Earth 616 Victor Von Doom, transported into a dark future timeline, maintains his intellect and inventive genius, and also gets some upgrades. Nanotechnology infuses his body, which increases his reflexes and strength considerably. His upgraded armor is made from adamantium and allows him to fly and phase, which the original Doom armor could not. Doom stands alongside the most powerful magical beings in the Marvel Comics, but this variant doesn't. Due in part to his memory loss, this Doom variant lacks the typical mystical skill and knowledge. But my gosh, that suit is amazing.
Yeah, let's rock the silver and the blue with the spikes around the collar.
Yeah. See if we can find some other interesting ones. Oh yeah, Doctor Doom, who became the Juggernaut. A powerful Doom variant emerged in the 2021 Heroes Reborn crossover where Victor Von Doom obtained the Gem of Sidorak. With it, he gained the Juggernaut's tremendous powers. The Juggernaut stands out as one of the most powerful X-Men villains, now a hero on the X-Men team, in the comics thanks to the tremendous strength and impervious to just about anything. Combined with the dubious intellect, sorcery, and limitless ambition, Dr. Juggernaut presents a fearsome challenge for Avengers and Heroes Reborn. That's an interesting look.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool look, but I don't know. It's unless I get an opportunity to have the hearing the funny quote of the "I'm the Juggernaut."
I'm the Dr. Juggernaut.
and have him running through. I mean, like it would be worth it for that moment. Outside of that, we've seen Juggernaut killed in so many different ways in various between the X-Men movie and between Deadpool and Wolverine. Like Juggernaut's not as menacing. So but it is a cool look at how his armor is glowing due to the Gem of Sidorak. Like that's cool, but other than that, yeah, this is another one of those cool in the background. I'm really hoping that you get to my favorite version of Doom, which is not on this list.
Okay, well, we have to save that because I'm very curious to hear it. So, how about this? The Doom who became the Thing from What If Doctor Doom had become the Thing in 2004. Doctor Doom and Reed Richards are better enemies in most universes, but in this one, Doctor Doom avoids the event that causes him to hate Richards. Instead, the two befriended one another, and Doctor Doom is brought on the fateful space flight instead of Ben Grimm. While the other members of the Fantastic Four gained the exact powers they were meant to, Doctor Doom was instead transformed into the Thing. Infuriated being transformed into a monster, surprisingly enough, Doom tries to kill Reed, only to be stopped by Ben Grimm, who becomes the Hulk. This is by far one of the most physically strongest versions of Doctor Doom in the comics. That's an interesting look.
Yeah, and that would be awesome just for the pure moment of having the version of him sitting there and having him look down with Reed Richards and having that moment like, oh, okay, here is my best friend as Doom. So that would be a cool little interaction.
Yeah, just looking to see if I've seen a couple of other lists, and it's interesting when they have similar ones. Oh, this one probably won't ever happen. Doctor Doomsday. So this is coming from Marvel versus DC #3. It's rare when universes of Marvel and DC cross paths. When they do, they produce some truly terrifying things. This one came when Victor Von Doom came across an alien creature known to fans as Doomsday. Doom is subsequently poisoned by Doomsday's DNA and transformed into the grotesque monster known as Dr. Doomsday. This Doom gets into many of the same antics as Victor Von Doom in the comics, though with the added bonus of all of Doomsday's powers. So, Doomsday boasts an advanced healing factor, as well as radiation immunity and an elemental resistance that rivals even Superman's, making him not just powerful, but invulnerable too. I like the touch of the cape,
Yeah.
So what is your favorite Doom variant? Because it's not on the list at this point, and that's kind of the most of them. A lot of them end up being kind of the Sorcerer Dooms, and one of them's like Doomactus, Doom merged with Galactus. So what's your favorite?
Here we go. The
All right, I'm ready.
ultimate best version is Doctor Doom, and this
that is on the list. Yep, I saw. Yep, okay. Yep.
From Peter Porker's The Spectacular Spider-Ham, and it's the cartoonish animal version. And it very much looks like your Daffy Duck just as Doctor Doom. He's the ruler of Quackvaria. Dr. Doom has proven to be one of the most terrifying characters relatively to Earth 8311. However, the character does end up losing to Peter Porker and is sent to live in the void of space. So yeah,
In the back of my mind, I thought, watch him choose this one.
I mean, you can't go wrong with something from Peter Porker's The Spectacular Spider-Ham.
Well, there you are. David goes for the laugh. So yeah. So I mean, again, all intents and purposes, do I think there's some plausibility to this rumor? I think there is. I think there's some plausibility with it. I think this is definitely possible. But like you kind of said earlier, a lot of them, if it's true, may just be glorified cameos. And I have two-factor fictions tied to this idea, so I don't want to say anything more with it at this point. So I'll save that for factor fiction. But all right. So our next story is, well, actually, let's take our first ad break since it's going to be a shorter show tonight. So let's take our first ad break. So listeners, these ads help keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud, so give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so this story came out of got buried in a much bigger story that was kind of chronicling Michael Giacchino's kind of his big rise from a great composer to some of the movies he's been doing, some of the influence he's had, and then there's this little line. So the story goes, and this was done by Deadline Sound and Screen panel, and he was there to discuss his work on the Fantastic Four First Step score, which he said he completely rewrote. During the event, he talked about what it's been like working for the MCU, and that led to him sharing what he's working on next. Next, he will direct his follow-up to Werewolf by Night, which he still touts. He says, if you haven't seen Werewolf by Night, watch it. It's on Disney Plus if you still have that. And not so subtle reference to the recent spat of cancellations. A sequel to Werewolf by Night might help bring them back. Standalone Halloween special was a hit on critics and viewers alike. Along with Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, it also seemed like a creative, great template to tell fun stories on the streaming site. More specials seemed like no-brainers for Marvel, and since Werewolf by Night ended with the main characters including Man-Thing, aka Ted, alive and free, it seemed like obvious, deserving choice for a sequel. Instead, Disney merely released the film in color, which I have yet to see the one in color, because I just thought the black and white version, and at the end, the turning into color was just perfect. I'll give it a watch one day, but it was filmed so well, and I'm a huge fan of old, like horror in general, but like old time horror, and the way Giacchino did it so well, making it. I mean, it was truly like it's definitely can be terrifying at points. The transformation scene alone, with the shadows and the lighting flickering in the background, and Elsa Bloodstone kind of getting afraid as he's transforming. It is a great special. I mean, what's your opinion of it?
I really enjoyed it when it first came out. I have watched it 2 or 3 times since, including on Halloween. I decided to watch it again, and I've only seen the black and white version.
Okay.
I didn't go back. They re-released it in color. I decided not to because I felt that the way that it was conveyed the first time that I watched it, I felt it was so good. I did not want to go back and rewatch it in a different version. It's like, man, this is just great. So I stayed with the original, but yeah, it's a great movie, and this makes me excited that there is going to be a sequel, because I do like when they have these special event moments. I liked when they did this around Halloween. I liked when they did the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special and things like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that
That is actually in our rotation for Christmas as well. Like that is part of it, and I do play the 2 main songs in my Christmas rotation as well. It's great. And even Fifth Jack agrees. He said, I enjoyed it more with the original. It's not like he's seen it in color. He says color was meh for me.
Yeah, I think that the black and white, the scale, the feel of the movie, the tone of it just fits with the black and white a lot better, and it's a good watch. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. And so I'm happy that they are going to be having a sequel to this, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because I did like how the ending was left okay with a where do we go from here moment.
Yeah, and you know, Man-Thing being introduced, what a cool thing. And even that, and even seeing Man-Thing in color didn't seem too ridiculous for what it was. And again, if they wanted to start building this idea of Midnight Suns, you've got Werewolf by Night, Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, key characters that have been part of the Midnight Suns in general. I am still one of the big banging on the wall saying, get Midnight Suns out there. I'm not going to be able to, it's $1 billion guarantee. No, it just, there's so much potential with that idea for a franchise. You know? One could say that it's Marvel's what got there first with Midnight Suns. Because Midnight Suns exists, it allowed Justice League Dark to run. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, but all right. Well, last story is just kind of a fun one. Oscar Isaac was in an interview with GQ magazine, and if you know anything about Oscar Isaac, he's like Honey Badger. He don't care. He gonna say what he gonna say, and he don't care who he takes off. Now, good or bad at that point, I like that. You know, he says what he says, and he sticks by his guns on this one. So, his interviewer asked, and that you can look at this up. It's on video. If he would return to Star Wars universe after saying he would only do so if he needed another house. Said, yeah, that was a real likable quote. He said, people ask you things and you say stuff and you don't really think about it that much. I said a slightly dickish thing. hold my beer because he's about to say something else. He says, after years of saying he wouldn't, Oscar Isaac says he's open to it, adding, although right now I'm not so open to working with Disney. But if they kind of figure it out and, not succumb to fascism, that would be great. So he's obviously referring to the recent ABC Disney suspension of Jimmy Kimmel over comments he made about Charlie Kirk following his death. Kimmel the return to the host 4 days later. But it's been this kind of thing. So Oscar Isaac, in so many words, is saying like he is not clamoring to work with Disney right now. Like it's one of those things like, we're broken up for a bit at this point, and that's fine if he wants to stick by his principles. But I don't know. It's for me, even though Moon Knight, the series, had its ups and downs. I think on a whole, I'm glad the character is existing, but this does worry me about the future of the character right now.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I had to go back and make sure he was not listed as part of the 27, the chairs that came out to say who was in Doomsday. So, we didn't get a confirmation that he is coming forward. I thought about it, like, depending on what his contract states, where could this let him be? And then I was like, well, maybe he wouldn't say anything if he is under contract. And I thought, wait a minute, it's Oscar Isaac. He gonna say what he wants to say, regardless if he's under contract or not. So it does leave open where they're going to go with this character. If we get a Moon Knight season 2, I would be for it. Where they left that one off in the finale of that and the post credits of that, they did open up for a continuation to go from there. So if we go that route, awesome. If not, I wouldn't be too hurt, but I do like Oscar Isaac enough that I want to see him in as much stuff as possible. So, I mean, he's worked with Disney in the Star Wars capacity, in the Marvel capacity. I would venture to see where they go from here, but I mean, the man had a point as well, so can't fault him for telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, he's entitled to his opinion on that, and like I said, I think he's done great by the character. But we'll just have to see. People say, "Oh, he's over with Disney." No, I don't, because again, they have worked with people who have said and done things that are necessarily, quote unquote, not the mainstream at that point, and they continue to work with them, and they find a way to move past them in the sense of separating. I think James Gunn said it like, when talking, I want to say maybe even Chris Pratt or something like that, saying like, I'm working with him as a person. He has opinions. I think it's probably he's talking about Chris Pratt, saying he has his beliefs and things like that, but he's a friend of mine. He's working with me. We find a way to work together, and we don't deal with the things that we don't deal with, And some people are like that. It's separating. In this mind, it's a version of separating the art from the artist.
And I think the Chris Pratt James Gunn comparison is probably the best one of those, because Chris Pratt is very outspoken politically one way. James Gunn, we can all tell where he is on the other side of that. And so, but they find a way to work together, and nothing that has been said has been on a level of a Gina Carano or something like that, where you're just like, all right, we need to put the brakes on this. We need to have some conversations before you step foot on our studio lot ever again. Yep. This doesn't rise to that.
Yep. So, but we'll have to see. So, like I said, be short news this week, but that's all we got. So let us head into listener feedback. And as I start getting ready to pull up Factor Fiction. So I put out the Spidey signal, but we got one question from our old faithful listener, Anthony Dorsey. So, David, can you read that?
Yeah, so Anthony Dorsey asks, what's a few things you guys don't want to see in Doomsday or Secret Wars?
Yeah, it always like Anthony for think your question's going to go one way and you get a little swerve there going on. So
yes, subvert expectations.
Yep. So things we don't want to see in Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars. What I thought about this, and I said in general, what I don't want to see. What I thought. And when this was originally kind of Kang Dynasty and things like that, if they're going to go for a reset, I want a true reset. I'm not saying heroes have to die and things like that, but like this universe, as we know it, is getting ready to end. I want to have stakes. I don't want the whole thing of like, oh, some people look like they died and they just come back. I don't want playing fast and loose with the stakes. If heroes, big heroes and villains are going to die that we've come to know, let them stay dead. Not, again, I don't want to play fast and loose with some of this stuff. I want something to matter,
Yeah.
I don't want to bring back like RDJ as Tony Stark and Iron Man and things like that. It's like there are certain things that just have to stay in a certain way, and I think one of those is Tony for this time. I'm saying this version of Tony. I'm not saying Tony in general, but like the RDJ version of Tony Stark. I want certain things like that to stay canon in that one. So when the universe does reboot, you're still gonna have an Iron Man and Tony Stark, but it's not going to be this version. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's one of the things that popped into my mind. I don't want Doom to be defeated or help and be defeated by Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Iron Man coming back and them having the face off one-on-one. I absolutely do not want to see that. I also don't want to see the overly ambiguous did they or did they not make it. I want you to let me know exactly who is making it through. When we had the last big Secret War event and we knew that, okay, the Maker made it through and Miles Morales made it through, everyone else from an alternate reality, you're gone. We're wiping out the whole Ultimate Universe, sans these two. Like, that was pretty much set in stone. There was no, well, I wonder if Ultimate Wolverine made it, or I wonder if this character from the Ultimate Universe made it. No, let us know for sure who's here, who's not. I don't want the next 5 years of questioning, well, we didn't see this person definitively die. On the flip side of that, I don't want to start off Doomsday with a shock factor death. It worked with Avengers Infinity War, where we had Loki, spoiler alert. But outside of that, like, I don't want you to open up in that same tone. Having the shocking death, having the big death, fine, super, do it. But don't start exactly how you started the last big 2-movie event.
How about what about trying to think of something else? Cameos are happening. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with cameos happening. What I don't want is cameos for the sake of cameos. I don't want that we always joke about in the meme of, Leo from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at that point. That's fun for a little bit, but then it gets cheap and you become a meme of your own self. I'm okay with a few of those moments. I don't want it to be so much, particularly when it comes to Secret Wars.
Don't do the Flash Superman scene.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do the, hey, here's this thing you guys been talking about on the internet forever. Hey, we gave you a quick shot of that. Don't do anything like that. And my last request, because he is in this movie,
make Cyclops right. I knew. Yeah, definitely. You do not. I take that back.
Don't waste Cyclops.
Don't make Cyclops right. We cannot do that. We have to preserve the idea that Cyclops is always and has been wrong. So yes, there you go, dude. That's my final one. Cyclops must not be proven right. Cyclops must be wrong.
I don't need our last James Marsden to be him crying with the sunglasses off before dying off screen.
No, I would be okay with that. I'm totally down with that.
Poor Cyclops.
No, he got what was coming to him. That smug man. So, but yeah, fun question, Anthony. Fun question. So, thank you for sending that in. All right, so fact or fiction. So these were used from a couple of weeks ago. All right, DC and Marvel will have a live action crossover moment in the next 2 years. 9% said fact, 91% said fiction. Interesting plug, interesting moment. Surprisingly, DC and Marvel have released the next crossover comic, but it is in their kind of infinity version or their vertical scrolling. I can't remember what DC calls their version of that, but Marvel's like the Infinity comic. You can get them both as being subscribers to Marvel Marvel Unlimited, and then DC Universe Infinite. What I found interesting, and we put it in the chat, Brent put it in our group chat, is that Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe Infinite sent me both emails, which is interesting. Why are you sending me emails for something I'm already subscribed to? So I'm hoping that it also went out to anyone because I can't use them, but giving away free 30 days of both services to promote it. I thought that's great cross promotion. They're both like Marvel put out one to subscribe to DC Universe Infinite, and DC put out one to subscribe to Marvel. So, I mean, they don't know that I subscribed to either, so that's probably what happened.
Yeah,
They sell my data, but they can't figure out I'm subscribed to both, so it's completely useless to me.
It's a great cross promotion. And
so if you're not a subscriber to it, I can get in my deleted folder and give you the codes if you're interested.
Yes, I'm surprised. I thought I'd get a little bit more people thinking that was a possibility, but guess not.
Yep. All right, number 2, the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 will be the reason Punisher meets Spider-Man in Spider-Man Brand New Day. 79% said fact, 21% said fiction. So, yep, we said that was very plausible. And number 3, in Avengers Secret Wars, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man will reference the "What are the Avengers" line with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. 75% said fact, 25% said fiction. All right, so it's my turn this week. Let me pull back my... All right. So I'm going to start with low-hanging, real simple, easy right now. Fact or fiction, Moon Knight will be recast.
I am going to go fiction on that. I think he did so good at the role that if they're not going to use him, they're just not going to use him. They won't recast him. And B, I don't think that what he said was so much of a travesty right now that it requires a recasting. Now, depending on how soon they planned on using him, that could change that, because if they are still bowing down and they planned on doing something within the next year or two, then yes, they might give in and decide to recast. I think if it's more than 3 years from now, then there is a chance that they could let him rock, with the feeling that they will have a lot more freedom.
Yeah, I'm a fiction on this. I don't think this is... I mean, what he said was not... I've heard far worse. And at that point, I think that right now they're just aiming to wrap up the multiverse saga. We've heard rumors today about Doctor Strange 3 is in... getting the plan for Doctor Strange 3 would be happening after Secret Wars. So it looks like, anything new coming out will be after Secret Wars, which is fine. It is what it is. But I still think Oscar Isaac will keep on in the role of Moon Knight. All right. So these next two kind of tie into each other. So I'll start off with this one. So we got one in the chat from Jim Scroggs. If you were in charge, are there any changes to the release order of the MCU that you would have made? Oh, interesting. Release order. Oh, man. Jim, I think we're going to have to think on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, that we may have to save that question, table it for next time, because that one's going to require some thinking.
Jim, send that to me in a DM, and I'll add it to our next one, because I want to give that one some thought. So I'm sorry we won't be able to answer it this week, but I like it so much that I do want to put that into thought. So yeah, so send that to me in a DM, and I'll make sure we answer on the next show. So man, that's a good question. Okay. All right, so Doctor Doom, fact or fiction number 2. Doctor Doom will see a variant where he was a genuine hero and created a true utopia on Earth, only to view them as weak and kills them and that entire universe.
Ooh.
So this I stem from Doctor Doom number 10 from 2019. It was a series at that point. So the entire series was framed around this alternate Doom, ultimate Victor, trying to mess with the 616 Victor to get him to change his ways to adopt peace and understand and forgiveness. And upon meeting this alternate counterpart who was able to make the world a utopia upon getting over all his ego issues, Doom couldn't handle it and decided to lash out and destroy that entire universe and kill that Doom. So that's where my idea was. So is Doom going to meet a version going down this whole variant that he was a hero, created a utopia, couldn't take it at that point, and destroyed everyone in that universe?
I am going to say fact on that. I can see that being a thing and them going from there. So yeah, I will go fact with that.
I'm going to go fact on it as well if it does happen, just because the fact that Doom would not dismiss, I could see this, and not saying looking as weak, saying, oh, I can't have someone existing that was successful and I wasn't. It's out of jealousy. It's not about him looking as weak. It's out of jealousy and saying, how dare you? How you think that you beat me? No one beats me. If I didn't do this, then no one will, you know?
Yeah,
Petulant child.
That having to be the best, having to be the one, even if it is a different version of yourself, he's not going to bow down to anyone else. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So along the same lines, Fact or Fiction number 3. Doctor Doom will kill all his variants, similar to how Kang was rumored to and planned to do the same exact thing to end the Council of Kangs in Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. So they're going to take that idea that was rumored that Kang was going to kill all the variants in the Kang Dynasty. Doom's going to do that to all his variants. There is only one true Doctor Doom. If this whole variant story is going to be true,
I'm going to go fact on that. I am going to go fact on that. I can definitely see that being. I think that you have to end with there being no more, or at least with one. If they're going to have all of these, you have to knock them all out. So yeah, I'm going to go fact with that.
Yeah, I'm a definite fact. If this whole variant story is true, I did like that idea that that one of the Kang the Conqueror was going to wipe out the council. There's precedent for it in the comics, and it's the one that how to ensure that there is only one true Doom. You take out everyone else. Doom cannot feel like he is superior when there's other ones out there. And it could be, like we said, when Robert Downey was like, we all thought those were Doom bots. What if they're variants?
Yeah.
And you can't trust a Doom not to pull one over on another Doom. Like, again, it's kind of like the rule of 2 with the Sith. Why there's only a rule of 2? Because the Sith can't trust each other and they just murder the hell out of each other just to get ahead.
Yeah, there's that knowledge like someone is going to die. Someone is going to have to die. So
people will die.
Yeah. There's not a situation where any version of Doom is going to work hand in hand forever with another version of Doom. Someone will eventually turn on them. So, yeah.
So, all right. Well, I will post those Sunday afternoon. Let your voices be heard with that. And let us get into Comic Book Club. We've got Spider-Man Life Story number 4, the 90s. It's the 90s, we're all hanging. And that cover of that one, Peter Parker's looking kind of hefty. However, at no point in this story do I see a hefty Peter Parker. That is flagrant false advertising, Mr. Zdarsky.
Yeah, well, it's funny if you look at it just from that back end, does he look hefty? His reflection looks at least a little bit more in shape, but that back shot, yeah, he's been letting himself go. He has not been working out at all.
There's your Peter Porker. All right, so we start this not just the beginning. We start like in the middle of the night, 1995, and we've got Ben Reilly And we've got Otto Octavius kind of going on a rampage, looking at and apparently knows who Ben Riley really is and things like that. Flashing to where we see Peter running Parker Industries having this debate with Tony Stark, who's trying to basically avoid a hostile takeover to work together. And Peter, being Peter, smug as everything else, like throws it back in Tony's face. And Tony tries to throw his family back in his face. That is, has left him, and Mary Jane's left him, and the kids have left him. Everything like that.
I like the smugness of Peter when Tony's like, "What do I have to do to make this deal happen?" And he just sits back, arms folded. He goes, "Stop making weapons."
Yeah.
And Tony seems shocked by this person who's been preaching peace this entire time and saying what he doesn't want to do. He seems shocked. He's like, "Wait, my weapons won us the war." Again, you get the whole peace across the world speech that we've heard in Age of Ultron and multiple times from different versions of Tony. Like, he views his weapons, his creations as the peacekeepers. But Peter's like, "Yep, nope, not doing it."
Yeah. I do like the little thing that he is now dating and shacking up with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I do like this version of the suit. I think, again, it fits the idea a little more armored as he's getting older at that point. He does make reference to kind of his doctor saying, he doesn't need to be lifting buses anymore. Cars are better. But, I mean, as a hero, what are you going to do? Just let it go?
Yeah.
And this whole fight with Otto, it's interesting. And then he ends up getting captured, only to find out that he's captured Ben. He's looking at Ben, and Harry seems to be there. And his I like this idea of that they're taking from End of the Earth, where what was it? Otto, eventually we get the idea of the Superior Spider-Man into here, where he's trying to put his mind into one of them and wants to make sure it's the right one. So I like that kind of like tip of the hat to that storyline of Superior Spider-Man. But then we find out that, lo and behold, Ben isn't the clone. Peter's the clone, and it was Ben all along. And I was like, again, I hadn't read this in a while, and I was like, oh, never mind. I know where this is going. But like, I think at the first time I read it, oh, come on.
Yeah, it was.
I read the first time I read that, I was like, I was not happy when I read that.
Yeah, as they're having the conversation back and forth, and he's talking about the cloning, and he's going on and on about, "Oh, I have Professor Warren's clone. Oh, I have this, and I reverse engineered this and everything else." I'm like, before I read down the page, I'm like, I know what's about to happen here. I see this coming. And then when he goes, "Peter Parker is the clone," and you're like, yeah, that's the direction.
Yeah, here we go. And so they get into a huge fight, and in order to, Otto, in his madness at that point, he Harry jumps in front of one of the tentacles and is killed. When Peter threw down as Ben's going after Otto to web sling to grab up Ben, I have thought, oh, this how we're gonna Gwen Stacy him?
Yeah.
I have thought that for a second. I thought I was waiting to hear the snap. Oh, Peter. And Peter's like, oh no, I killed Ben Riley. I mean, Peter Parker, drat. No more clone.
It's like, oh.
But yeah, I like, he's basically saying, Ben, here's all the stuff. You're going to take over the industries. Here's all the Bible of everything like this. And he said, like, I know it tells you when I left, I promised I wouldn't draw attention to myself, but we both are Peter Parker. And well, he shows him the mask and, the Scarlet Spider and everything. He is wearing the hoodie too. And he goes off and finds out Jessica Jones is broken up with him, but he makes a stop before heading off and sees Norman, who is hiding out and faking having Alzheimer's and saying that, I know what you're doing and things like that. But he says, I know you told Otto who I was. You told him about the cloning, and most importantly, you gave him access to your old equipment at Oscorp, where the results were baked in and predetermined by you. One final attempt to making me think that I was a clone, but I did my own testing, and I'm still Peter Parker. So Peter knew this. Peter knew this the whole time that Norman had screwed with this. but he went along with it because it's giving him an out. You
Yeah.
know?
He wanted to be free of the life, and it worked in his favor.
Yeah. So, and then Norman ends up having a heart attack, dies. Good riddance to bad rubbish, and he flies out. I believe they're in Seattle or Portland.
I believe they were in Seattle.
Okay, Seattle ends up going to where Mary Jane and the kids are. He reunites, comes in the house, shuts the door, and there we go. I think right now this is out of the series. This is my least favorite issue. Even though yes, the clone thing was a misdirect, which is fine. I just there everything else brought something to the table. This seemed like an interlude issue. It wasn't a bad issue. It just was more like a pause and kind of reestablishing what the final arc is going to be focused on, which I'm fine with. We needed to start moving on from this and getting back.
Yeah, it's to me every beat of this issue was predictable, not necessarily in a bad way. It was just like, all right, I see every direction this is coming. I saw the conversation between Ben, Peter, and Otto. Saw the situation with Harry. Saw the conversation with Norman. Like as they were going, I'm like, yeah, this I can see every beat right before it happens. And so I was like, okay. And then the final shot of him returning to his family. I think the only thing that really surprised me in this issue was the hooking up with Jessica Jones. Like,
Why not?
Oh, that's what we're doing. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Way to go, Peter, I guess.
Yeah, it was an interesting twist, but I mean, Peter gonna need to get some Peter action, so take that for what it wills. Hey, that's double pun, gosh darn it,
Yeah.
double entendre. Anyways, so all right, well, so we will head into the next issue in the 2000s, Spider-Man Life Story number 5, and yeah, like we said, it was gonna be a quick episode tonight. But as usual, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see what happens next week. You never know. As we're kind of in this kind of, we've heard rumors about the Doomsday trailer being in Avatar: Fire and Ash. I will probably see Fire and Ash, just because I'm not an Avatar fan. It's beautiful to look at, but I gain nothing from the movies. But hey, if it gets me the trailer, yeah, sure, I'll watch it. So, but yeah, right now
I will go for the trailer and then turn around and leave because I could care less about Avatar at this point in my life. Like,
well, here's the other
story does not hold me.
Well, here's the other rumor right now that's going on about that. The trailer may release a week before Avatar, so we both save money.
Yeah.
So let's hope for that. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see what news brings next week, and but yeah, we'll go from there. So David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the Geekverse Network as part of The Gimmick. It is our wrestling show. We have 2 shows coming up, one on the 23rd and one on the 30th. Our one on the 23rd will be a review of AEW's Full Gear, and then we will have our draft shakeup, and then we will do Survivor Series review after that. Plus, we're setting up for another My GM mode as we're close. We were, I think, one recording away from being at WrestleMania before our big shakeup with that. So we're going to get one of those on the book. But yeah, we got 2 episodes coming up before the end of this month. And so yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right. And you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. And you can follow the show on Twitter at Marvel A Podcasts. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance on Twitter at GWay Pod Network. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions that you want us to answer on the show. DMs are open across the board. Continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us live in the chat. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, post-credits discussion tonight. What do you got for us?
All right. So there have been rumors suggesting that Marvel will go the route and have an Excalibur film with Captain Britain and the Black Knight. We already have the Black Knight. We had Kit Harington in the Eternals. So what is
Do
your
we now?
way?
Do we?
I mean, we had him at the end, and we heard what we are saying is the
We're
new
making
incarnation of a Blade.
we're making an assumption that he's the Black Knight. We know the character he's playing, but did he ever truly become the Black Knight, or he was just that one step away? Kind of like Shia LaBeouf at the end of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where he tried to grab the hat, and thankfully, Indy grabbed it and said, "Yeah, not yet, kid."
Almost had it. So, what is your way too early casting choice for Captain Britain?
I got nothing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm really honestly no good at these. I mean, sometimes I'll sometimes have a moment where I think of one really good one, but I mean, outside of the Henry Cavill idea, I don't really. I'm not a Captain Britain fan. I'm not against him at all, but it's just not one of the characters that I constantly get. Like, who could be it? You know?
Yeah, Henry Cavill is a lot of people's choice. I mean, the man, he is just chiseled from the gods. He was. I'm trying to remember the old Greek movie that he was in. Like he has been just ever since his coming onto this scene. He has been that guy that you're looking for someone of that stature. He is your go-to. So, but I also thought of, and I went with the thought of an actual English actor, and that would be Tom Hopper from Umbrella Academy and Game of
Okay.
Thrones.
All right.
So he's got the stature, he's got the build, he's got the charisma. So I think that he could make a good Captain Britain as well if they were trying to stay away from the Henry Cavill route. The good and the bad of Henry Cavill is you know what he can do, but it's also the weight and expectations of Henry Cavill. I mean, if you put him in a starring role, there's going to be a lot of, well, he's not as good as the Superman role, or he's not as good as this. He's not as, the expectations are so high. Going with someone else, I think would be a better bet. And Tom Hopper immediately jumped out at me.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad choice at all. Definitely plausible. I see exactly the possibility of that. So yeah, not bad. If they really are doing Excalibur, I just don't think I don't see it. I don't see the Excalibur series actually happening, or movie or anything like that. Just because again, it's the current regime is all about making sure we're doing things that make money, and they're not necessarily like not they don't want to do risk. So it's just interesting. So, but yeah, that's not a bad choice. So. But all right, we will see you all hopefully next week. If not, we'll see you whenever Marvel stops some news. So we'll hope for next week, and we'll see you soon. And whenever we see you, we hope you have a good rest of your week and weekend, and stay safe out there.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.